Well, hello. Nice to see you back. Today I just wanted to talk about the concept of the fourth dimension, what that is, and who we are. First thing I want to say is who we are is this. All is one and one is all. Basically, in a nutshell, all is self, meaning I am you and you are me, literally. The fourth dimension, pretty much, to me, as far as what I know and what I've experienced, is a space that is one step beyond three-dimensional present reality. It is a space, once you go beyond the present moment and into the next level, it is a space where one is able to experience what is in the quote-unquote past and what is also taking place in the quote-unquote future. In fact, what starts to happen is the idea of the past and the future start to become more and more synchronized or one. What individuals may eventually end up feeling or starting to feel is the connectivity or lacework or lattice work, as one of my teachers put, of us all. Basically the hive or connectivity of us all. You will begin to experience a vast network of information, archives, the real university, as I like to call it, which is the universe. So before we step into the fourth dimension, let's just break down the third dimension. Let's not jump a few steps ahead, which we can't. We can't step ahead to 11 without first learning 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11. So let's just start with 3, which is where we are. We are in the third dimension, which is, I'm assuming that's your consciousness level at least, bare minimum. So that means that you have a body. You have, say, my hand. You see my hand, and it's three-dimensional. Now let's break down, let's just say my hand, or the human body itself. What is the human body? The human body is, of course, a body. It consists of not just one being, but a multitude of beings. So in other words, I'm not just one being talking to you. I'm a collaboration. I am synergistic. I consist of multiple single-celled molecules and organisms. For example, if you were to cut my wrists or to cut me open, you'll find that there are organs inside of me, and that these organs kind of function and move on their own volition, and that each of these organs have their own purposes within my body. Sound familiar? Kind of sound like you kind of walking around Earth with a particular function and purpose, and then Earth having a particular function, position, and purpose within the galaxy, and so on and so forth. But let's not just step, that far ahead real quick. Let's just, once again, stick with the body. So the body has these different organisms, basically different beings within it, and within those organs are even smaller organisms like cells, white blood cells, bone marrow cells, and so on and so forth. And you break it down, it goes down to the atom, and theoretically you can keep dividing and dividing and dividing. My point is that it's an empathic experience. It's a telepathic experience that makes up you. It's because all the cells in my body on a three-dimensional level in quote-unquote separation, all my molecules can feel with the next molecules that it's right next to. It can feel what it feels. And in that there's a hive, there's a lacework, there's a sort of micro fourth dimension taking place within. And what's also going on is that you have neurons. You have neurons passing through the body, and through those neural pathways, memory archives are stored. And it's stored throughout one's entire existence as this body. And all the memories that you've had as a child, that everything that you think you've forgotten, is actually all stored, not just within the brain, but also within the body. And when you go into meditation, you can begin to access those archives. You can actually experience things from your quote-unquote past, and you can also experience things that are already happening in your future. Now, to bring it to a macro level, or to explain the fourth dimension beyond the physical body, it's basically a similar network or framework. There is a lacework. We basically make up a body, which is the earth. And the earth has a nervous system. There are neurons passing through. Now, one may ask, okay, well, if you cut open the human body, then you can physically see the nerves passing through the body. Well, to tell you this much, there are sort of like, I wouldn't call them nerves, but it's whatever you want to call it, but there is this connectivity that you can tune into, and it's not as solid as like our fingertips or this piano. It's lighter. It's lighter. So it's actually lighter than air. So you can feel that air is here, but you can't see it. You know that there are radio waves sending information to different stations into the radio, or you know that when you take a cell phone and you send a text message, it goes through a wireless system, so it's passing through something and sending information. So that invisible space is, well, I would call that, and this is a little more advanced, I would call that a artificial space, but I'm not going to get into that. But there is a metaphysical space in which our bodies are able to access higher knowledge, expanded wisdom, experience things from the past and the future, feel what other people are feeling, just as the molecules in your skin and within your body can feel, what's happening on other parts of your body. You can do that as well, and that's how you start to feel what is going on. Once you realize that this isn't separate from you. This is this stone is just as much a part of me as my fingertips or my legs. Once you start to realize that and get that within your consciousness, then you can start to feel what's coming off the stone, and it won't just look just like a rock. Or you'll walk into a room and you'll know what's coming out of the walls or coming off of the earth, or what's going on around you. And that brings about compassion. That brings about a sense of karma. And I'll talk about karma and compassion in another video. But that's what it starts to bring about. It starts to bring about a sense of your synchronized order and why you are in a particular situation. And so you don't wake up in the morning or walk to wherever it is you're going to go and feel like, you're lost. Because a lot of people, they wake up and they live their lives and they're kind of walking through this reality blind, like they don't know what's going to happen the next day or the day after, and you can sort of start to take steps towards understanding what's going to happen to you in the future, what you can do about those circumstances, and so on and so forth. And you cannot learn how to not be a victim of whatever has happened to you in the past, or a product, rather I should say, a product of what has happened to you in the past, and you can start actually changing your past or using that energy in your favor rather than in opposition to you. So another thing that I want to say about the fourth dimension is the fourth remembers. The fourth remembers. And there's a saying in Game of Thrones, particularly to the people of the North, they say the North remembers. Now that is an esoteric or exoteric saying, which means the North remembers, which is the fourth. The fourth is the center, the North is in the winter, and the center is the fourth. The fourth is an archive. Our nervous system is an archive, meaning that there's information stored in it, and there's nothing you can do to sort of delete what has happened in the past and what's going to happen to you in the future. You can only change the way you are affected by it. So what has happened has happened. What is going to happen has happened and is happening, and yeah. So all is remembered. It doesn't, the concept of a lie becomes diminished. The truth is revealed, and I kind of basically described three aspects of the fourth dimension, but these three aspects are also the aspects of a saint. A saint has a good sense of karma, a good sense of truth, and a good sense of memory. Yeah. So a good sense of synchronized order. There you go. Really kind of the same thing. Those three things kind of tie in together, and they start behaving responsibly or admirably because they know the consequences for when, say, you strike someone or you are mean to your so-called enemy or adversary, because to strike on another is to literally strike on oneself. I think that's enough for now, and thank you for listening. Be on the lookout for another video. Sovereign Day.